So now this is her initial problem. I think this was August, okay? And so now let's look at what we did. So what we did, we gave her, well, so first, so now we have a supplement called Adrenocare Glandular. It helps with the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland, that's what makes cortisol. Adrenal gland needs a lot of vitamin C. It needs B5 and B6. And I'll do a whole podcast on vitamin C. So vitamin C, B5, B6. All right. Then it needs these things called adaptogens. Adaptogens are these plants or herbs that help you better adapt to stress. Okay. So adaptogens are things like ginseng, rhodiola, ashwagandha, cordyceps. All of these adaptogens, they can grow in very harsh conditions, like high up on mountains or deserts, that they can withstand a lot of environmental stress. And they have something called heat shock proteins. And these heat shock proteins allow them to withstand extreme heat, extreme low oxygen levels, extreme cold, extreme wetness, or whatever. But these heat shock proteins, when you ingest them, you are able to take in those heat shock proteins. So it makes you more resilient. All right. So that's what we gave her. Now, sometimes if she was actually not in the same city I was in, so if you're in the same city, a lot of times we'll give you vitamin C IVs with B5, B6, NAD, all these things to help you to make energy. But she just took the supplement. And I told you with our supplement company, we like for you to only have to take one or two things. So the only thing she took was Adrenocare Glandular. And she took it consistently for 3 to 4 months. Now, she felt better in 2 or 3 months, but we just retested her about 3 or 4 months later, and you see her curve is all in the green. And she feels like that, even though she's still taking care of her mother and she still has the same job, and she's still doing the same whatever activities she's doing. But now she has the energy to do it because we actually repaired the damage caused by the stress. Her 53 years of life had beat her cortisol curve down, and now that we have revitalized it, she's back to normal. And you'll even see at night, instead of that curve going up like it was before, now it's going down. Now she sleeps fine. That was one of the issues, but now let's look at her progesterone. All right. So what did I do? I gave her progesterone. Now her estrogen went down a little bit. It went from 1.1 to 9, but that may have been because she lost some weight. All right. And her cortisol got normal. So now she's not making as much estrogen. So that means she doesn't need as much progesterone. Okay. Her progesterone is 222. They say that's too high for her, but no. Look at her progesterone estrogen ratio. Now we got it greater than 200. Now she doesn't have any hot flashes. She's able to turn her mind off and go to sleep. She feels back in balance again. Okay. So what did we do? She takes the progesterone at night. It helps to calm her brain. It makes her sleepy. So now she can sleep. If she can sleep, that helps her energy level. That helps her adrenal gland to recover so that she can wake up in the morning and have energy again. Okay. So we had to fix both of those for us to get the optimal outcome. And we never would have known that if we had looked at her blood. Now, I think it's commercial time again. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you how when you don't understand this, it can cause all kinds of problems. We're going to talk about how blood lies to you, and those lies can be detrimental to your health. And that's why I'm saying spitting can change your life. And if you don't spit, it could really hinder your life. So that's what we're going to talk about when we come back from this next commercial.
We are going to a quick break, so stay with us as we explore the Ageless Blueprint right here on W4HC Radio and Talk4 TV. An ancient secret with a modern twist for better health and vitality. Dr. Taylor will be right back. Taking care of your health shouldn't mean taking a handful of pills every day. At Taylor MD Formulations, they create doctor-developed supplements that combine the best natural ingredients so you get the results you need with fewer pills. Taylor MD Formulations is backed by science, designed for real life with real results. Less pills, better health, doctor approved. Shop now at TaylorMDFormulations.com and discover smarter supplements for smarter health. That's TaylorMDFormulations.com. We are back for more of Ageless Blueprint. Once again, let's join Dr. Taylor for more insights and research on the ancient secret to better health and a better life in modern times. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
All right, we're back for our final segment, and let me take this time to show you how, if you don't understand this, how it could hurt you in unbelievable ways. All right, so blood lies. Blood testing of hormones will lie to you. All right, so let's go this. This is a 66-year-old white female who I saw. She was complaining of hot flashes, mood swings, fatigue, poor concentration, weight gain, and memory problems. All right. She went to a regular doc. They said, "Oh, you're 66, you're menopausal. Let's give you a hormone replacement." All right. They gave her estrogen, and she was on 3.1 milligram transdermal patches. So let me tell you what 0.1 milligram. If I ever give anybody estrogen, I'm going to tell you most women will, even if they're menopausal, they're making estrogen in their fat tissue. God kind of made it where even though you're not reproductive anymore, women have a little bit of extra fat, and that extra fat can be estrogen so that they can maintain their feminine qualities, even though they're menopausal. All right. So what happens is if you look in the blood, you don't see any estrogen. You don't see that estrogen that's made by the fat tissue, so you think it's low. Then you give them estrogen. Now, when you give it through the skin, let's go back. Let's go back because I want to keep talking about what's going on with her. All right. So that 0.1 milligram, that is the highest dose of those patches, and he had 3 of them on her. I usually give 0.025 at the most, which would be a fourth of one of those. Okay, so he was giving 12 times the amount that I would be giving a patient. And the reason why he kept giving it to her, because he kept looking for that estrogen in her blood. But that estrogen is not in her blood. It immediately goes into her tissue. So he kept giving her more and more and more and saying that she wasn't absorbing it. All right. So he did that for years, and she stopped 2 months before I saw her for the first time. And he was measuring her hormones in her blood, and he didn't see it, and he kept giving her more and more. All right, so let's go to the next one. So I did a saliva test. All right. Now, this is a different lab, but look at her estradiol, okay, and her estrone. These are 2 estrogens. Those first 2 columns, they are so high that the lab couldn't even measure it. It was greater than 3,330 of the estradiol and greater than 2,000. And the estrone is the dangerous estrogen, okay? And we can talk about that at a later podcast. So her body was overwhelmed with estrogen. And he had told her that, that everything was fine. Now, I told her, I said, look, he had actually done a mammogram and didn't see anything. I said, you need to go back and ask him to do an MRI on you, because if you have these high levels, I'm really worried that you might have breast cancer. So let's go to the next slide. 5 months after this initial visit, she had a mammogram that was negative. Because I told her her estrogen level was extraordinarily elevated, she pushed to have an MRI. The MRI showed an estrogen-sensitive cancer, and she had a double mastectomy and reconstruction. Okay, so that's why you have to be an honorary gynecologist. Okay, you have to take control of your health. And that's what this podcast is all about. How can you get back in control of your health? Now, the whole medical community is a high, most patients, they will take an authoritative figure's view over their own intuition, okay? Is that what I want to do is connect you back with your own intuition, is to follow your gut. I can't tell you how many patients say, oh yeah, when that doctor told me that, it didn't seem right. It didn't feel right to me. I tell every patient, don't you ever do anything that I tell you to do if you don't feel comfortable with it. Because I trust, especially a woman's intuition. That is a gift from God. And I'm trying to develop my intuition, okay? So just because someone has an MD behind their name does not mean that they know what is best for you. if they tell you something and it resonates with you, and we're going to talk about resonance and how frequencies vibrate and how they are in coherence. If what is being told to you does not resonate with you, I want you to question it. Only time you don't question what's going on is if you're in a car wreck or you have a heart attack or whatever, and they're, electrocuting your chest, then you don't argue, that you don't question. It's like, hey, do you know what you're doing? No, if you're in a life-threatening situation, yeah, let the doctors do what they, need to do. But when it's a choice, when you have a choice, please, you go research it. A lot of doctors hate it when you go on the internet or go on Google, but if you understand that there's good information, and I hope I'm one of those good information sources, there's good information out there, and don't let an authoritative figure like a doctor who's supposed to be an authority, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't do it, because it can very much be detrimental to you. Okay? Rebel, I think we're close to ending here. I didn't get to the questions. Did we get any questions today?
I asked them while we were going.
You what?
I asked you
I
while we were
answered it.
going.
Okay. All right, great. Very, very smart. So I think we're like a minute from the end. So here's my parting message. Please, please, please join me every week. You can go to agelessblueprintpodcast.com. I'm developing a whole educational system for patients, for anyone who wants to learn, who wants to take control of their health, who wants to see how their mind has an influence on their health, and has to understand how the spirit, or what I'm going to explain about quantum physics and energy, has an effect on our mind and our body. So we're gonna. I'm very excited about what we have in store for you, and I hope you're as excited. And I hope you subscribe to our podcast and you join us next week at 9 o'clock, and we'll have some more interesting information for you.